Local and live. Covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Let's talk TriState.
Dan DeDona here again with the Local News 1 weekly report for Hagerstown, Chambersburg, Smithsburg, Fairfield, Waynesboro, and all the communities that make up our local area. We're going to start off today with 5 things to do this weekend, the 29th of May edition, starting off with Country Creek Produce Farm, who is inviting families to kick off the sweet start of summer as it's at its annual Strawberry Festival in Chambersburg. That'll be from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. on Saturday, the 30th of March, and on June 6th. Both of them at the same time at the farm at 3794 Eder Road. Guests can enjoy a $12 children's wristband that includes access to a play area, farm animals, face painting from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and visits from the Franklin County Bookmobile from 10 until 2. Farm's food shed will be open throughout the day, featuring homemade strawberry shortcake sundaes, ice cream, lemonade slushies, and soft pretzels. I think I probably need to avoid that. I really need to drop some tonnage. But it sounds delicious. The festival celebrates the peak of strawberry season while providing a family-friendly outing in a small farm setting. It really does sound like a lot of fun. Coming up next, the U.S. Navy Commodore's Jazz Ensemble is going to be bringing a patriotic soundtrack, setting the tone for an early summer evening at the free Red, White, and Blue concert. The ensemble is going to be bringing its signature blend of jazz and military pride to Hagerstown from 6:15 until 8:15 p.m. Friday, May 29th, today as a matter of fact, at Hagerstown Community College's Alumni Amphitheater, 11400 Robinwood Drive. This is hosted as part of a national concert series, and the performance celebrates national spirit. No tickets are required, though concessions will be available. So show up early, get yourself a good seat. Third on the list, Frenchy Tales, Books and Gifts. Turns out they have a 4-legged storyteller called Walter, the bookstore's beloved French bulldog. Both of them, Walter and the bookstore, are going to be hosting a special storytime reading of one of his favorite books from 10 to 10:30 a.m. on Saturday, May 30th at 20 West Baltimore Street in Greencastle. The event invites children and families to enjoy a fun, engaging reading experience while meeting the shop's canine mascot, promoting early literacy and community connection in a relaxed setting. Pet friendly, by the way. Bring all your animals with you. Light and Shadow are going to be taking center stage on a new regional art exhibit opening in downtown Hagerstown. The Gaithersburg Fine Arts Association is going to be presenting Light and Shadows Provide Inspiration at Hagerstown's Washington County Arts Council, 34 South Potomac Street, Suite 100. That'll be taking place from May 28th through July 28th, and the gallery hours are 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. throughout those dates. This is free admission. They will be exhibiting showcases and works exploring contrast, depth, and illumination across various media, and it offers visitors a visual study of how artists interpret light and form. An opening reception will be held from 2 to 4 Saturday, May 30th. Parking is available at the A&E's parking deck at 25 Renaissance Way. And our fifth item for this week, Curious Critters are taking stage at the Greenbrier State Park at 21843 National Pike in Boonesboro. Visitors are invited to explore the world of insects up close and personal in Insect ID Hike, led by a park naturalist on Saturday, May 30th. The beginner-friendly program runs from 2 until 4 p.m. at the park, and it features a roughly 1.2-mile walk around the lake to discover and identify the creepy crawlies that inhabit the area. Participants are going to meet at Gazebo number 1 in the day use area near the volleyball courts and should be prepared for some uneven terrain. The event aims to foster appreciation for local ecosystems and the often overlooked insects that play a vital role in them. We're going to add one sixth item today. It's the 5K and 10K C&O Canal Towpath Hike, which will be benefiting Micah's Backpack and the Refugee Welcome Network and other Hagerstown Area Religious Council charities. This is set for Saturday, May 30th. Registration is open online through Friday, May 29th at 5 p.m., or you can show up in person on the day of the event, although they can't guarantee you get a t-shirt by then. You just have to get there as early as you can. The check-in location for all hikers is Zion Lutheran Church, 35 West Potomac Street in Hagerstown. The hike will run along a beautiful section of the towpath, snack and drink stops, good lunch, family-friendly fun, all for a good cause. All right. We're going to transition now into, actually it turns out there's a series of stories that we're going to be following up on. You've heard many of these before, but just to bring you up to date on what's been going on. First of all, Franklin County Commissioners. You'll recall that we've talked from time to time about the development of ordinances to help control networks that are being developed in the area. The data centers, of course, there are a lot of things that impact local communities, including water and power. So what the commissioners wanted to do, and what they have done now, is they have changed some of their ordinances to provide guidance to a lot of people who, a lot of different communities, townships and boroughs, who may be considering working with a data center in development. This is to provide them guidance. Now, all the work that actually gets done in the townships and the boroughs still remains. They do all their own zoning. But the county wanted to provide some guidelines because this is such a fast-moving topic that there may not be a lot of thought that's already gone into this. So the county is trying to help. They're not trying to take over what the townships and boroughs would normally do. Second up, also with the Franklin County Commissioners, they are asking for public input on the Franklin 2035 three-year implementation plan. The plan actually needs to be updated every 10 years, but they're looking for comments on the implementation plan to get public input. The comments are open until the 2nd of July. So you can see Local News 1 for the contact information to make your thoughts heard. An interesting one, little new. The Pennsylvania House has approved a bill that would reshape athletics in the Commonwealth. They're making a distinction here between boundary and non-boundary school systems, I should say. The boundary systems are the ones that actually have geographic boundaries, and they generally correspond to public. The same ones that most kids go to for for high school or what have you. The argument is that non-boundary schools, which would include Catholic churches or religious schools or schools for profit, don't necessarily have boundaries. And as a result, athletically, they are able to recruit from a much broader recruiting area, which makes them perform much better, all out of proportion with what people think they should. So what they're trying to do is divide it up so that the competitions would take place along separate lines between boundary schools and non-boundary schools. Although it's a little peculiar in the sense that the state of Pennsylvania has already divided things up into different districts and divisions and groups, mostly on the basis of size. So the only people who would be competing against really large non-boundary schools would be really large school districts. For whatever reason, though, the Pennsylvania House has been convinced that they should pass legislation. Of course, this now needs to go to the Senate and eventually would need to go to Governor Shapiro's desk for a signature. But if you have thoughts on that, you might want to contact your PA representatives to make sure your thoughts are known. In Washington County, The commissioners have approved a Fort Ritchie infrastructure agreement. What this entails is, on Fort Ritchie, there are companies who have actually accomplished development on the former Armory base land. In some cases, they've built roads, or they're maintaining roads. In other cases, they've got what amounts to a private water and sewage system. Well, they've been working with the Washington County people to see if they can't transition that over to Washington County so that it's all one big integral water sewer system. So the details of the agreement are that Washington County will take over the private water and sewer system and help develop that. And as soon as that's all done, they will own it. It'll transition from the private sector to Washington County. The second piece of that is the company that owns the private system is going to upgrade a series of roads, which also will convey to the county once they come up to county standards. So it's a bit of a swap, not necessarily a bad idea if both the county and the company are probably strapped a little for cash. It sounds like a good deal. Both sides seem to have agreed to it, so that's what they're planning on doing. In Hagerstown, this was an interesting new one. Many of you in Hagerstown, or possibly even throughout Washington County, know that Hagerstown has got its own electrical utility. There's not a whole lot of cities that have their own electrical facilities. Generally speaking, this is a commercial kind of a thing that provides power to all the residents. But in this case, they've got one of their own. But during the budget discussions, the council saw some troubling projections about where costs and revenues were going to go. On one hand, they're somewhat limited in the sense that they can't expand much beyond the Hagerstown city limits. So they can't expand to generate more revenue that way. And they're also regulated by the state of Maryland, like any other utility in the state of Maryland. So they can't just raise prices, and they can't just expand. So they are looking very seriously at whether or not they ought to retain it or possibly sell it to a private organization that has got more flexibility to be able to take advantage of the power that's generated. So more on that to come. In Chambersburg, they are going to discontinue water fluoridation. Now this came up a month or so ago from the standpoint that there was some equipment that needed to be upgraded and maintained, and apparently this is very costly. Chambersburg, like many other municipalities, has got expenses and revenues that they have to look at, and they certainly don't want to, like most municipalities, they don't want to raise taxes if they don't absolutely have to. So the mayor broke a tie over equipment upgrades and basically said, no, we're not going to do that, and we're going to quit fluoridating the water. The mayor also cited changing drinking patterns. Apparently the idea that, and I'm not sure on what basis he was able to make this comment, but the thought was that people don't drink tap water that much anymore. I'm not necessarily sure if that's true, but nonetheless, the mayor said it. He said a lot of people drink sodas, or they drink bottled water or what have you, but they don't take it from the tap so much anymore. So in addition to cost, he touted that as a reason why stopping fluoridation and not paying the charge to keep the equipment up to date would be ended. The Waynesboro School Board has a little bit of new news. We reported about 2 weeks ago that they held a vote, and unfortunately, after the vote was concluded, their parliamentarian, who was acting in that capacity, noted that as a 9-man board, in order for a vote for a replacement member to have legal effect, you had to have at least 5 people. Well, they only had 6 people there, and the vote was 4-2. So they had to redo that sometime when they actually had a working majority available, or they could get a working majority. In the meantime, one of the 2 candidates dropped out. That was Justin Goff, Gouff. He withdrew from the race. That left the only other candidate, Sandra Kraft, available and to fill the vacant position, and she was approved to fill that vacant position on a 6-2 vote. So congratulations, Sandra. Or condolences, depending upon how the job works out. Penn State Mont Alto. We had a few small things on this, nothing substantive yet, but Penn State University advised that they are continuing to work with the Franklin County Area Development Corporation and some others on future uses. They emphasize that there's nothing final yet. This brings to mind a thought, though. We're about a year in since they made the announcement that Penn State Mont Alto was going to close, and we're about a year away from that closure date. So to the extent that Penn State needs to provide information so that private developers, or public developers for that matter, know what kind of a deal they're getting into, just a suggestion that the Penn State people probably ought to get on their horse and start putting some material together. Talk to your business department. Talk to your legal department. Get some help. You did not necessarily shower yourself in distinction when you made the announcement and then found out that some of the data that you said you used wasn't necessarily the data that you used. So just a thought. You ought to get on your horse. Up your game a little bit. There's a lot of people who want to know how that facility is going to be used, including the second element on Penn State Mont Alto is there's an alumni group that is planning a celebration of Mont Alto campus. They look back many, many years at an awful lot of wonderful contributions that were made by not only the institution but by so many of the alumni who literally went out and raised millions of dollars to help sustain and enhance and grow the site. What they want to do is they want to make it a point that the value of the past will continue into whatever new form the utilization of the facilities might take. So good effort on those people's part. The information to contact them is also in localnews1.org. Franklin County Area Development Corporation's Mike Ross has his most recent Mike on the Mic presentation. That's a podcast that they do periodically. The subject of his most recent one was the Emeritus School of Osteopathic Medicine, featuring the Dean of Osteopathic Medicine and the CEO of Emeritus Health. That's the contact information for that is actually available in the media link. It's on the bottom of the very first page in localnews1.org. It says media links. There's one there for Mike on the Mic. Just click that and you'll always get the most recent episode. This should be a really good one because Emeritus has demonstrated over an extended period of time that they really seem to have a good grip on where they want to go. They've got a good notion of what they want to do in order not only provide local medical care, but also to help grow the number of people that they see are going to be necessary as demographics age the population, and we're going to need more healthcare providers. And they have been building like crazy over there in Washington County, all over the Hagerstown area and elsewhere. So it should be an interesting chat. I'm sure Mike will get into some of that with you. Wilson College is accelerating its Doctor of Physical Therapy program. What they're doing is they're putting together a hybrid program, which will enable them to produce what they call practice-ready physical therapists in 2 years. I'm no great expert on how fast that takes, but 2 years would be pretty good because there's an awful lot of there's a huge need for physical therapists. Going to shift gears here now to police news. In Waynesboro, Cameron Ranabaugh was charged with endangerment and simple assault on the 15th of May. No additional information was provided on that, but apparently it was somewhat of a domestic dispute. Second item would be Pennsylvania State Police have a program which they applied for 3 days, not necessarily in our local area, but this was interesting. Thought I would pass it along. That what they want to do is they go online and they want to track online predators, the kind of people who lurk out there and try to draw in youngsters for sexual purposes. They opened up their operation for 3 days, and they found 9 people. So apparently they're going to do this on a spot basis. It's not a continuous kind of a thing, but they'll do it on a spot basis. They may even be looking for some evidence that there's a particular area that needs more work than others, but more to follow on that. Let's see, 2 other things. In Hagerstown, there was an inmate who was found dead at the Roxbury Correctional Institution on the 20th of May. This is the second inmate who is inmate homicide that's taken place in a month, and the authorities over there are investigating that. One other police-related thing is in the state of Pennsylvania, the hands-free driving law is going to be effective the 6th of June. Now, we've said that several times. It's a pretty loose definition of driving. That includes not only while the vehicle is in movement, but also while it's parked. And the guidelines for what constitutes violation of the law seems to pretty much come down to if you are in physical contact with a handheld device that is not actually fixed to the dash, or if you're not using one of the hands-free devices, many of which are built into more contemporary vehicles, you could be susceptible to fines. All they've been issuing so far is warnings, trying to get the word out. But after the 6th of June, if the police catch you in physical contact with a phone, either driving or simply parked, they may very well charge you. So you might want to look into more of the details on that. Under People News, a lot of interest. Well, this being the postseason season for high school athletics, we have quite a number of things to talk about here. Great things are happening. Penn State Mont Alto's Carter Fogle led the ball team to the USCAA Small College World Series Championship recently. Good effort by Carter and his teammates. Apparently there's at least 4 or possibly 5 former members of the Chambersburg ball team who stepped over to Penn State Mont Alto, and great performance. World champions in the small college division of the USCAA. In the Northern Hagerstown girls and the Smithsburg boys both won team titles at, and I apologize for some of these acronyms, but state track and field championships for the state of Maryland. Okay, we'll just simplify it to that. Entirely too many letters here. There's at least 6 letters here. Who's supposed to remember that? In Boonesboro, their softball team had a great season. It's their 3rd time in a row that they visited states. Unfortunately, in spite of the fact that they have a great program that gets them to the finals every year, this year they were not fortunate enough to win the title, but getting all the way there and knocking off all the other competition except for the last team is noteworthy, and you deserve a lot of credit and a lot of kudos for that. The Waynesboro High School baseball team also had a pretty good season. They got very deep into the District 3-6A playoffs before being knocked off. Great effort, though. They started kind of slow, but they picked up a lot of steam as they went on and came together as a great team. The Chambersburg Trojans softball team, which has been a powerhouse in District 3-6A, also went very deep into the finals. They did not win this year. I think they got to the final playoffs. This is an interesting organization. Since 1982, they have won 93 wins in postseason play. I think that's the way that was written. And they've got 13 titles under their belt. They fell to Central Dauphin, which has not been too shabby a program either. So that was a real meeting of the powerhouses. But Chambersburg Trojan softball team, great effort. Congratulations. Under health news, we have just a few items. One item, actually. Meritus is opening access to primary care from home. It's called the Meritus Now Virtual Care System, and it is available to everybody, children through adults. It's all online. You can get the contact information from Meredith on Local News 1. But this is a great idea. You can get it to it from a computer, you can get it to it from your laptop, you can get it to it from your phone. Basically, if you get online, you can get to this, and you can ask not only if you have an injury that you want to question, you can also ask about preventive medicine for whatever kind of situations you may find yourself in or entering. So that'll be a great capability. There's a lot more to see in localnews1.org. We have local history every Tuesday, the writings of Dargan Boy on Thursdays, who actually had a quote from something that he had read about the way things are during a drought. Said it sometimes it gets so dry that trees are actually bribing dogs. That pretty much sums up a really dry period. So it was interesting. Just sticks in the mind. Lots more on sports. There's auto racing. We have crossword puzzles, theatrical activities, and more. We're very proud to be the news source for Verstandig Media. You can see all the local news from all over the area at localnews1.org. It's all local, no national news. We just don't do that. And we will conclude today with the thought of the day. It's a police story, actually, about an underwear bandit who was caught. And when he was caught, he admitted to a brief crime spree. Bada bing. Have a great week.
Let's talk TriState.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.